June 6, 1944. Dawn breaks over the coast of Normandy, France. Thousands of young American soldiers huddle in landing craft, hearts pounding, knowing many will not see sunset. But among them is a unit you've never heard of. They are black, they are American, and their job was so dangerous, so critical to success of D-Day, that without them, the invasion might have failed. So why does history barely mention their name? This is the story of the 320th Barrage Balloon Battalion, the only all-black combat unit to storm the beaches of Normandy. And their story is one of courage, sacrifice, and a debt America has never fully repaid. In 1944, America was still deeply segregated. Black soldiers were often given menial tasks: cooking, cleaning, digging ditches. They were told they weren't smart enough, brave enough, or strong enough to fight. The U.S. military believed black soldiers couldn't handle combat, so they were kept in support roles, far from the front lines. But then came D-Day. The Allies needed every able-bodied soldier they could get, and the 320th Barrage Balloon Battalion, all black, all volunteers, were given a mission that would change everything. They were trained to operate something strange, something that looked like a giant silver blimp attached to a steel cable. A barrage balloon. The idea was simple, but terrifying. The balloon would float 500 feet above the invasion fleet, trailing steel cables. Enemy planes trying to dive bomb the ship would fly straight into those cables and be torn from the sky. But to set them up, the men had to land on the beach, in the middle of the most intense enemy fire in history. On the morning of June 6th, the men of the 320th hit the shore of Normandy. They carried 400-pound balloons and heavy hydrogen tanks through the surf under machine gun fire, while men fell all around them. And they did it, not just once, but again and again, all day long. Their balloons filled the sky over the invasion fleet. German pilots, seeing the deadly cables, were forced to fly higher, making their bombing runs far less accurate. The 320th didn't fire a single shot at the enemy, but their mission was so successful that the Luftwaffe, the German Air Force One, largely abandoned their attacks on the beaches. Those balloons and those black soldiers saved thousands of Americans' lives that day. And yet, you won't find them in most history books. When the battle was over, the 320th didn't receive medals. They didn't receive parades. They weren't celebrated as heroes. Instead, they were told to return to their segregated units. They weren't celebrated, told to forget what they've seen, to forget what they'd done. And for decades, they did. In 1945, President Harry Truman integrated the military, but the men of the 320th were already out of the service, and back in a country that still treated them like second-class citizens. Many of those soldiers would go on to become foot soldiers in the civil rights movement. They'd marched on the beaches of Normandy. Now they marched in Selma and Birmingham. They'd already fought for a country that didn't fully fight for them, and they were still fighting, because they knew something we're only now beginning to understand. You can't demand the world treat you equally when you've already proven you are. In every way, that matters. In 2019, the U.S. Army finally awarded the 320th Barrage Balloon Battalion the Congressional Gold Medal, the highest civilian honor in the country. But by then, most of the men were already gone. Today, when you visit the Normandy American Cemetery, where 9,000 soldiers are buried, you see row after row of white crosses. Not all of them are white. The 320th Barrage Balloon Battalion is one of the great untold stories of World War II. Not because their stories is lost, but because for a long time, no one wanted to tell it. But now, you know. Their names were Corporal Waverly Woodson, Private Joe M. Bishop, Sergeant Major James H. Taylor, and hundreds of others. They landed on the beaches of Normandy so that others could be free. But here's the question we have to ask ourselves today. How many other heroes are still out there, waiting to be remembered? And will we be the ones to tell their story? If you made it this far, drop a comment below. Tell me, which forgotten hero should we cover next? And if you want more stories like this, hit subscribe. Because history is full of heroes they never taught you about. I'm Frames of Fate 01, and this is the truth they didn't want you to know.